So the first question I always ask my guests is HER is an acronym for higher energetic resonance. So I want to know from you, David, when do you feel that higher energetic resonance?
That's an amazing question because that's what this entire topic has to do with. When I when I discovered that the earth isn't what they told us, and we're going to get into that, um, it had a lifting of my spirit. I resonated more with the reality of this place. I'm going to show you today. People go, flat earth, why is she talking about flat earth? That's crazy. There's no proof of the flat earth. There's a million proofs of the globe. Well, it's the polar opposite is true because there's a million proofs of flat earth. There's no proof of the globe. And the globe is the most sinister trick of all, and it lowers your vibration. If you believe in the globe, you believe nothing exploded and became everything, and that you're flying on a speck through an infinite space vacuum where an asteroid could take you out. We're running out of food, we're running out of water, we're pollution, all of this stuff. And none of that is true. When you realize that you are at the center of creation, that you are safe, and that all that the foundation of the earth does not move, and all the luminaries in the sky are circling in perfect order above you, you automatically raise your energy, your resonance, and I'll get it right back to you in a second. I believe that our journey here is, we have a piece of God in us, which is our soul, and our job here is to maintain control of our soul and expand the mind of the Creator. And when you are trapped in a heliosinister trick, in the soul lure system, they're literally trying to steal the currency of this world, which is souls, then it's hard to vibrate high. So why am I talking about flat earth with all the nonsense going on in the world right now? Because it raises people's vibrations. We're having a conference in South Carolina in October, and every single person there is vibrating on a level beyond all of the other zombies out in the world. It's amazing. Did I answer your question?
I think you did perfectly.
Okay.
You answered it in your way, so then you answered the question. You know what I mean? It's not for me to say repeat. We're moving out of that paradigm now, where it's like rinse and repeat. We don't.
I just want. Sometimes I get sidetracked, and I was like, "Did I answer the question?" All right, but it's all good. All right.
I heard an answer in there that was sufficient, I think, for me and everyone else listening.
Great.
But before we go deeper into it, I just want to find a little bit more out about you, David, about where you came from and how you started on this journey, and what was the prompt, or what was that little peak that made you think, hang on a minute, I've just accepted a narrative and I've gone along with it. And then did you wake up and know that it was flat, or did you go into it going, I think that's bunkum, and I'm just going to debunk it even further, which is kind of the 2020 dictionary of words, as debunk is one of them.
Imagine what you would do if somebody grabbed your ankle and was dragging you into a pit of hungry alligators. Okay. That's how I got dragged into this. Okay. I didn't want to look. I refused to watch a 1-minute video. People that suggested that I look, I banned them from our social media for life. I'm like, you're too stupid to even watch my podcast. I'm not going to, I'm not going to watch any of your nonsense. But then I was forced, kicking and screaming, into looking. And I said, okay, I'm going in with a closed mind. I'm going in a closed mind. I'm going to prove the globe. I'm going to show how stupid this person is, and all of these people are. And and that's it. And that's how you become a globe denier, rather than say, people like flat earther. That's a bad name. I like the name flat earther. That's why I call myself Flat Earth Dave. Okay. Oh. So that's how it happened to me, but our life is the universe, the one verse is trying to, it's conspiring to give us everything that we're thinking. Whether if you're thinking good things, then it's trying to give you good things. If you're thinking bad things, it tries to give you bad things. If you're thinking both, it does whatever you're thinking. They don't want us to know that. And they're constantly putting clues out there, preparing us for what's to come. One of my earliest memories in school, I think it was kindergarten or first grade, the teacher brought us out into the playground and had a bucket of water on a string and started swinging it around and showed us how you can go all the way upside down and the water doesn't come out. And he said, that's gravity. And I go, but isn't the water on the outside of the ball spinning? Wouldn't you have to turn the bucket the other way to make it like the earth? And the teacher goes like this. Yeah. Well, that's the way I'm told to teach it, and that's the way you have to learn it.
Right.
That
Okay.
was one of my earliest memories. So tie that in. That brings us back to this Helio-Sinister trick.
Okay. So why do you think that the flat Earth rabbit hole triggers people so much, even people within disclosure and the consciousness and
Yeah,
the religion? Why does it send them crazy? They will believe everything else. They will look at every conspiracy
that
and
was
think,
me.
and you only just have to say flat earth and then people
And they
literally combust.
triggered. Well, first, nobody
Oh,
likes having their ball taken away. Okay. We're all children. We're not using our adult brains, and our whole life is built around a ball, right? If your parents were good parents, they probably got a mobile of a solar system and put it over your baby crib. Okay. You probably had well, you're female, boys have NASA sheets, and they put stars and moons on your ceiling, and the books, Goodnight Moon, for everything is heliocentric. Then they parked in front of the TV, Sesame Street, Disney. They have astronauts on there and spaceships, and it's just everything. It's all about space. So your entire foundation is built around this fantasy world that doesn't exist. So that's the foundation of your belief system. So when you try to tell somebody that, um, they're like, no, that's too much. It's too much, and their inner child just reacts with an emotional, childish brain, and that's where it comes from. It happened to me. I did it, but then I was forced to look, and when I finally looked, I'm like, amazing. And I wish I saved all the emails I get from people that are like, Dave, I thought you were crazy. I used to troll you guys. But then I looked and like, oh my God, my life has gotten so much better. Everything, it's almost inexplainable how wonderful life gets, even though you lose some friends. Like, I have a neighbor across the street. I want to call her neighbor. I'd almost call her a sister. I raised her children, single mom, right? I did more stuff with her children than she did, all growing up for years and years and years. We vacationed together. And a year and a half ago, she's like, your ideas are too dangerous, right? I'm talking about this and other things, and we haven't talked for in a year and a half. That she just cut me off, right? Flat Earth, you're out of your mind, right? That's okay. That's her journey. It's not, it's her loss. It's both of our losses, but it's her journey, and it's the way it is. My sister and my brother, we never talk about this. We never talk about it because they're not ready. And that's all right. It's not my job to drag everyone else out, but there are a lot of people that are ready. 6 years ago, when I got into this, you mentioned flat earth, and 99.9% of the time, it's like, you're crazy reaction. Now you mention flat earth, like even to you, and you're like, that's interesting. Let's have this conversation. Right. And the conversations are happening faster and faster, more and more. And the information although they're censoring it, I've created an app that helps people find the information faster. And it's amazing. It's literally amazing what's going on in this awakening. This is the apocalypse, the lifting of the veil. Everybody is waking up, and it's fast. It's the most amazing time ever.
Yeah, and I think why people are a little bit more receptive, because it's something that I've kind of glanced at on and off over the years. So it's always been in the back. So I've had people question me. I remember my brother actually asked me a question years ago about what I thought about it, and I didn't know. He didn't expect my response, and I said, I don't know. Because
That's a good
usually
answer.
the usual response to that is like, that it's smack it down, it's completely ridiculous. But I realize, and especially over the past 18 months, if you want to call it, people are realizing that everything that we've been led to believe usually doesn't stand up to the most basic of questioning. It's not even that we're coming with like crazy physics, we're just asking basic questions. And if those basic questions start to shape the narrative, then maybe if you start to apply a little bit more kind of like knowledge or science, even though science is probably not the best word, things actually start to shake a little bit. So what I want to know from you is, when you started to do your exploration, what was that first little pebble, or what was that straw that broke the camel's back? What was it that just started to go, hang on a moment, maybe they're not crazy?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Don't believe anything I say today, because that's crazy. That's just, you don't know me. Here's the thing. We look at each other, we see each other's faces, like, you know what? I trust you. This woman's telling me the truth from her point of view. Well, you can see that I'm telling you the truth from my point of view, but don't believe me, Go verify it yourself, because everything I'm showing you today, you can verify yourself. Everything NASA shows you, none of it can be verified. It's all pseudoscience nonsense. And when you actually look and actually think, the problem is people aren't taught to think. In school, it's indoctrination camp. Read, memorize, regurgitate, you pass. Read, memorize, regurgitate, you pass. And if you do it really well, you get to be the teachers to read, memorize, and regurgitate the next generation. Okay. And it's all Rockefeller textbook nonsense. And I mean, all of our history is a lie. So what was it? I said, okay, people are like, where do you get your information? YouTube? I'm like, well, YouTube's just a platform. It has everything on it. It has nonsense. It has real stuff. It has good stuff. It has bad stuff. It has just everything. But now with the censorship, they're taking off a lot of stuff. But it was ships over the horizon. I'm like, okay, what about ships over the horizon? That's that's it. So I looked into the globe Earth curvature calculator, and did you know, according to the size of the globe, which is 24,901 miles around at the equator, and people that defend the globe don't even know that. I know it. At 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of curvature. 10 miles. My power cord here. 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of curvature. Okay. So then I said, wait a minute, does everyone agree with that? So I went to some of the flat earth debunking sites, and one of the most horrible sites ever, it says, oh, no. If you're on a ball, the viewer and the object are halfway down between the hump in the middle, which is ridiculous. But so the curvature is only 33 feet. That's just really dumb. But guess what? I'll give it to you. It's okay. I don't need it. 33 feet of curvature. It's really 66. And I knew that I had a buoy that was just over 11 miles off of my beach. So I went down when the water was really calm, and I bought $1,000 super zoom camera, because our consumer optics have outgrown their lives. Got a tripod, got right down like a foot off the water, and I zoomed out. And not only could I see that 10-foot high buoy, I could see the surface of the water for dozens of miles beyond it, where there should be hundreds of feet of curvature. Okay. No curvature. Well, how many stretches of flat water does it take to make a ball? Right?
Yeah.
So no curvature, no ball. So the other thing is, and when I start talking math, it's all easy math, but people just short circuit. They're like, oh no, I don't get it. NASA uses numbers so big that your mind just can't comprehend them. So the radius is from the center to the surface of a sphere. So if the radius of the Earth, as they tell us, is 4,000 miles, it's 3,958, whatever, 4,000 miles. So as you move the radius, this is the curve of the ball, right? That's the radius. So we could see too far. And I said, well, what if the Earth is bigger? Maybe they're just wrong and it's bigger. Well, the first problem is, if it's bigger, we could have never gone to the moon, because the radius tells us how big everything was. We use that. All the planet sizes would have to change. All of the orbits would have to change. Everything would have to change. The distance to the sun. It all falls apart when one thing changes. But I said, all right, maybe it's just a little bigger. I said, well, we can see these distances, and we did the math. Instead of the radius being 4,000 miles, for the distances that we are seeing, even without using infrared, which can see even farther, for the distances we can see with regular consumer optics, the radius would need to be over 250,000 miles. Okay. 4,000 miles to 250,000 mile radius. If the Earth is a ball and it's that many times bigger, we still have a problem. Okay. But it's not a ball, because water's flat, and that's the end of it. Water lays flat.
That was the first one. The first one
and I literally went down to the beach. I zoomed in. Like right now, look, you can't see a boat here. There's no boat here. And I'm zooming in. What I'm doing is I'm increasing the angular size of that boat. It's right there. So I'm going to zoom in on it, and you're going to see the whole side of the boat. And then we're going to pretend I'm not zooming out, that the boat's just going away. It's the same thing. If we had the time to let the boat go out, and you'll watch it disappears from the bottom up. See how half the boat is gone? It's going up to the window. And there's a couple reasons for that. Angular size. The waves in the closer to you become bigger than the boat, because the boat's getting smaller, and it's gone. Now a glober would tell you that it went over the curve, but it didn't, because if it did, that would be a physical thing. It would be over the curve, and I wouldn't be able to bring it back into view again. But I can. We can do this again. You can do this yourself. Everyone can do it on the first try. And again, weather conditions weather conditions change every day, and sometimes you'll see something and sometimes you don't. Well, that tells you it's an optical thing and not a physical thing, because if it changes, either the earth is flexing every day or it's definitely just an optical thing.
So you've got this information. Where do you go next with it, or where did you go next with it to go, okay, I've seen that, I need something else to make it more solid to me, or kind of build the story so that I know.
Yeah. So then I
Is.
said, well, what about NASA? You know, they're going into space. The only purpose for NASA is to make you believe that there is space and that somebody can walk on a sphere. I started looking at the moon landing. I started looking at the International Space Station. So the International Space Station is a conglomerate effort with, you know, the different countries made their modules and they sent this thing up to space and they put it together. This is the most technological advanced structure we've ever built. There's no video and no photos of it being built. None. Okay. What I'm showing you now, this is 2 modules that were made by different countries, and they made different valves, different connectors. So they had to put in a different, like an adapter. Never built it on Earth. They never tested it on Earth. They just brought it to space and built it. And all of a sudden it was there, and there's no photos of it being built. This would be the most filmed project ever. Did you know right now there's now a Chinese space station? They built it and there's people on it. Just like last month, there's a Chinese space station with people on it, but they forgot to take pictures and video of it being built. Okay. Not a single picture or video of it being built. This is a movie. Okay. This is movie stuff. So then I said, okay, well, what about when they're floating, you know, and the things are floating here? Check this out. This is a balloon filled with helium, beach ball. So it floats. This isn't even real. Watch, I'll show you again. It's an augmented reality. She's maneuvering a virtual object with her hands, and they're rendering it in real time. And sometimes they have these screw ups. It happens all the time, right? Sometimes we catch them hanging on wires. Look at this guy. You can see they're flipping their hat around and doing stuff. And this guy goes floating by in the background. You can see his harness and his wire. And the Glober the answer to that is, well, they're wearing harnesses because for safety. What? Safety? And they're, you know, it's unbelievable. And so I'm going to zoom out a second. This guy in the blue, he's flipping his hat around. Look, my hat, I'm in space. That's a virtual reality object. It's not there. They're looking at a screen that's either behind the camera or in virtual reality contact lenses. And in the script, see, there's the hat. He's supposed to hand the hat to this guy, and he's supposed to put it away. Okay. But he moves his hand. The guy thinks he's passing the hat. He moves his right hand. Watch. He moves his hand, and he thought he passed him the hat. So he takes it and he puts it away. He missed it. And the computer is like, whoa, what are you doing? Their clothes are not even real. Okay. It's unbelievable because they're wearing harnesses and all the clothes are just wrapped around them. It's amazing. You know, this guy got tangled in his wires. This guy had to grab the wire. Watch, he grabs the wire right there and pulls him back. This guy, his harness, it slipped and he fell. If you hear, you can hear it, but that's just, I can't play the sound on here. These guys, everything that's floating all of a sudden glitched out and they quickly cut to mission control. Okay. Mm. This guy comes around a corner and there is no corners on a 0G plane. So he fades out and his elbow is transparent. Look, you can see the wall through him. This is all done in like green screen studios. It's unreal. Do these guys look like they're hanging from waist harnesses or floating in space? Look at them. They got what's on underneath their pants, right? Why do they need cargo belts where your pants can never fall down? Okay. He's just trying to balance on this harness. It's so easy to fake space. Watch this guy's head, transparent. Look right through. He's not there. We've seen them where the guy literally just beams in and they don't even realize it. And it's so easy to fool people. Like, this is the space station. Obviously, you can see the curvature of the Earth. You know, you got the solar panel. And I say to a Glober, why don't we see land? And they're like, well, it's over the ocean. NASA gets $64 million every single day. We get zero. And we did this in our front yard. We just turned the camera upside down and got a solar panel and it makes you think you're in space. We did it for free. Imagine what you can do with $64 million a day. You catch NASA faking things once, from the moon landings. Like, this is the lunar lander meeting with the lunar orbiter. This thing. Look at this thing. Is this crazy? So here's another thing that got me. It was seasons. I'm like, what about seasons? Because we all believe in the tilt of the Earth. Yeah. So my app, it's called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. I'm gonna share it with you. All right, you see that? So real quick, and I'm gonna show you seasons and just follow me through this. Isn't that confusing? So before I tell you seasons, let's try it this way. I'm gonna do it backwards. Imagine you're in London, right? Does it snow in London?
Does it snow? Yeah, it does at the weirdest time as well.
Actually. So imagine it's the coldest day of the winter, and you and I are sitting outside in beach chairs wearing shorts, and it's cold, and we're 20 feet apart from each other, and it's just cold. And then somebody comes over with a long broomstick and a big heat lamp and holds it 10 feet over your head, and you can feel that heat radiating down on you. That's your summer sun. It's high in the sky. It's above you. I'm looking at that sun going, it's over low in the sky. Right? It's lower in the sky, and I could barely feel the heat. Well, that's my winter sun. Okay. So that we have opposite seasons to people that live in the outer south, not down south, the outer south. So here's the map right here. All of the other outer southern lands are out here. This outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. The inner one is the Tropic of Cancer. The sun migrates in between these lines every 6 months. And right now we hit the peak of our summer in June when it was over the Tropic of Cancer. And that's why the lower United States is the hottest. Mexico, super hot. And now it's migrating out. When it gets to the red line, it'll be the equinox in September. And then when it goes all the way out to Capricorn, it'll be over Australia. And that's when they're having their summer. They got that heat lamp directly over them. We look at it, it's lower in the sky because it's out south, right? That's how seasons work. This whole tilted ball thing, if the tilt worked, well, balls tilt in all different directions. At sunrise on June, it should be freezing here because according to the heliocentric model, we're 3.5 million miles farther from the sun during our inner northern summer, okay? You got to really think about this. The sun's farther away. It's on the horizon, and I could feel the heat at sunrise where I am in Connecticut, right? But in December, when the sun is at its highest point during the day, I can look at the sun and not even feel the heat on my face. And that's a more direct angle. Seasons prove the earth is flat. So every day on the app, there's a new video. This is a new video that I select that shows up. And I tell people, watch the video every day for 2 weeks, and then you'll understand that the globe is a lie. But if you want, then you'll have questions. You hit the question mark, and up come these lists. What about eclipses? Here, what about seasons? So if I click what about seasons, up comes a playlist of videos that YouTube doesn't want you to see that will totally explain with graphics and details what I just explained, but so much better. Okay. And when you see this, you go, oh, well, that's interesting. And so you go back and you say, well, what about boats over the horizon? I heard Dave talking about ships over the horizon. So if I click ships over the horizon, up comes a video list of all these videos they don't want you to see. Okay. And it perfectly explains why you think you see ships go over the horizon. And then you say, well, Dave said something about our history. Bottom right, mud floods. Okay. Mud floods, Tatari. Are you familiar with Tatari and mud floods?
I'm slowly creeping down that space because that blows everything out of water,
And it only makes sense on a flat earth. The picture there is them excavating the transcontinental railroads, not building them, excavating them. Right. Fascinating. And then me, I was, I guess I was a complete atheist and, evolution guy. biblical flat earth stuff. Amazing. If you're a Bible believer or a Bible hater, watch the biblical flat earth stuff. Your whole paradigm is going to change. The Bible is a flat earth book. It's amazing. And another category here, mud fossils, mind-blowing. Like I can't go out of the house without, one, seeing zombies, and two, I walk through nature, I'm like, oh my God, those rocks, that was a tree. Oh my God, that was like, everything you see isn't what you thought it was. It totally changes. So and then there's resources and books, emergency landings. I'm going to quit out of the app. There's NASA is in charge. The liars at NASA are in charge of GPS, radar, flight routes. So, if the Earth is a globe, why don't flight routes make any sense? If you want to go from Buenos Aires to Cape Town, well, this would be the fastest route right here. It should take about 9 hours. Okay. But instead they go all the way up over to the backside over here, and then all the way back down. Okay. And that's because the Earth is flat. This is they go there because, there's bigger airports there or whatever. But some of the other flight routes are even more mind blowing on what they do. So, but here's one. China to China Airlines, Taiwan to LA. There was a medical emergency right about here. And instead of landing in Hawaii or continuing, they went way out of the way to Alaska. But if you look at that on a flat earth map, Taiwan, emergency, Alaska, it's right there. Hawaii is all the way out here. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they're lying to us, especially on these southern flights, about, where you are, where you're going. Check this out. Santiago to Australia, instead of just going across the bottom of the ball like that, zip across, they go all the way up to the north and all the way down. And if you want to go to Western Australia, they go all the way up across the United States, over to the Far East, Singapore, and down. Why do they do that when they could just go zip at the same latitude right across? And the answer is because look at that route to Western Australia, all the way up across America, Far East, Singapore, Australia. It's a straight line. All right. Flight routes prove the Earth is flat. And then you go into NASA and you ever hear of Project Paperclip, where they brought over the Nazi scientists? That's just a story. It's a cool story, right? But Werner von Braun, who started NASA, he wrote a book in the 1950s called Project Mars about a group of people that went to Mars, run by a guy named Elon. Mm-hmm. Elon Musk wants to take this to Mars, but he tweeted a month ago, I want to redesign it and make it pointier. 1957, how did he know Elon Musk would be taking people to Mars? Right. Fake taking people to Mars. It's all nonsense. Okay. They're mocking us, everything. This is a picture of Pluto. It kind of has a desert shaped like Pluto. Or is that my imagination? Right? You look at the pictures of Earth, different size United States. This is the one that was on everyone's iPhone that they admit was made in Photoshop. People go, there's hundreds of pictures of Earth. NASA admits they don't have any pictures of Earth. It's only people that don't know that insist that they're photos of Earth. They're made in Photoshop and they're paintings. They even are lazy. They use the same clouds again and again and again. Right? They're telling us about global warming and pollution, and they show us a picture of how the world is changing. Right, 1978, look how great the world was, and now look how dingy it is in 2017. This is what they use to justify global warming. What do you see wrong with this picture? Do you see anything wrong with it?
Is it the same?
Look at the clouds; they're the same. The clouds didn't change in how many years? That 50 years? What, for 40 years? Yeah. They're lying about everything. So I say to you, listen, this is what, I bet deep down inside, you're like, this is earth shattering. Like, are your parents alive? Can I ask?
Mine are past, actually. Yeah.
You're the
They're
past,
not.
but
They're not. Yeah.
I assume by the lovely lady that you are that they were good parents. If
They
I
were good
told you that they
parents.
were
Yeah.
mass murderers and ate babies at night, would you listen to me? Probably not, because
Right.
it's world shaking. Well, this is
Mm.
equally as world shaking.
Mm.
Okay. This is equally as world shaking. This is, but the problem is, it's a good thing. I'm not ripping the rug out from underneath you. I'm ripping the nonsense out from underneath you, and I'm planting you on a true foundation at the center of creation. The world is amazing place, and you are part of the earth system,
Mhm.
and you are at the center of creation, and you are a powerful spiritual being, and that you can create things with your thoughts. They don't want you to know that. They want you living in fear, giving away your free will, and just giving away your power. This is a spiritual war where they're taking your power and you're giving it to them willingly, because they've told us, they tell us everything.
Right.
And then we are just, many of us are too lazy, too stupid, too tired, too fluoridated, too vaccinated to care.
Mm. So the question that everyone will come up with, if they allow themselves to throw a question at you, and you've heard this a million times, is going to be why. And I think you addressed that a little bit at the top, but why, on a bigger scale, why? And then for people who are willing to explore it, this, like you say, it's earth-shattering. And a lot of the time, because you're protecting yourself by a lot of the time pushing away the truth, or pushing away things that will shatter your paradigm. Like if I did find out that my parents were evil, that's just
your parents are not evil. I could assure
I know. I'm just using your analogy. But if you find out something, you've built your foundation on something, and you realize it's something else, that's a lot for people to deal with, like you say, if they are already so poisoned mentally and spiritually and physically, that to take on all of that, because you need to sit on a rock and meditate for a few days before you even start to go there, really.
Sure, absolutely. And if you meditate and you think of all of the motions that the heliosinister trick model says, you're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, and moving sideways at over 1,000,000 miles an hour, you probably fall off the rock you're meditating on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you realize you're at the foundation of the universe, nothing's moving, everything, all the luminaries in the sky are perfect order circling above you, your spirit will rise right away, and you'll realize this is a good thing. Knowing this connects you with your soul. Most of the depression in this world is because your soul knows the truth, but your brain has been hijacked by the tell lie vision programming. They've programmed your mind with lies. The control meant is your mind. They're controlling your mind, right? It's sinister, right? But once you break free of that, you watch the movie The Matrix, I assume, with Keanu Reeves. I call it a documentary because at the beginning he's lost, he's depressed, he's sleeping a lot, he's trying to figure out what's wrong with the world, and then at the end of the movie, look at Neo at the end of the movie, he took his power back. He unplugged from the fear matrix, from the mind matrix, and he took back his power. That's exactly what's happening in this world right now. Talk to any flat earther, anyone after they get over the initial shock, they're like, my life is so much better. Everything is better. Everything is so much better. So why the lie? Well, here's a map, a Japanese map showing, here's our Earth. Here's, United States and South America and Europe. And here's the shoreline of Antarctica. What's out here? What are all these other continents out here? Okay. What's out there? Well, what is out? What are these places? What if this is Antarctica, maybe 1,000 miles wide, and then there's more land? There's some stories in one of the books in the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app called The Iron Republic. Read that. Mind blown. Okay. Iron Republic. It's about an advanced civilization that left here in the 1600s to escape tyranny. Imagine that, tyranny. And they went and they lived an advanced civilization out there with, this is written in late 1800s, early 1900s, with flat screens and electric cars and floating things and just amazing technology all happening back then. How did that person know about all of this stuff in that book, even if it was made up story, which it isn't? So why the lie? Besides hiding more land and hiding resources, you're hiding your true divinity. You're hiding the creator. You're hiding free energy. You're hiding so many things. It's unbelievable. I have a slide that lists everything. Oh, there it is. Why the lie? As I said, free energy, hiding the creator, hiding your spirituality, hiding more land, hiding more resources, scientific knowledge of what's in Antarctica, hiding that you are at the center of the universe, and hiding that you are special. Don't you think that's an important thing to lie about? This is the most important thing ever, because if we want to break away, the ruling banking families that run this world, they control us with money. What is money? It's nonsense. It's garbage. But I could say, hey, would you sell me something? Hey, will you sell me that crystal for $25? You're like, yeah, I do that because that $25 could buy you some groceries or whatever, something else you need, right? It's just a belief system. Dollars have no euros, whatever you have. They're all based on nothing. They're fiat. They're garbage. So that's how they control us with money. They have us working our lives away. Like, oh, you made some money, give me half of it. So they extort us, and they just keep us working and working and working. So we're good little controlled slaves. Slaves need jobs, because then, they never abolished slavery. They just put everyone in a jail that they can't see. And that's the heliocentric system. And by the way, this lie is only less than 100 years old. Everyone in the 1920s and 30s knew the earth was flat. Okay. They changed it over by the 1950s, late 50s. That's when they really started laying on the nonsense really hard.
So how did that transition happen then?
Well, so there was a massive reset in the 1800s. When you look into the mud floods, you'll see that there's many, many buildings built on top of other buildings that were here, that were advanced buildings that we're told, the people with horses and buggies built them. Nonsense. That's, we can't build them with our greatest cranes today, but these things were built back then. And you look at the pictures of these cities, like, where are all the people? They're not building these cities, they're re-inhabiting these cities. So whatever that was, natural, man-made, who knows, the people that took over this area of our realm, they said, hey, let's hide this from the people. Let's take control. And they literally took control. So it's all a trick to control the people's minds. Because if you knew that there was more, if you knew there was other free lands out there, you'd be like, you know what, I'm tired of this government, I'm leaving. And they don't want you to do that. So they have us paying for, instead of using free energy like they used in the 1800s, they have us paying for their fuel, their fossil fuels. That's another friggin' total joke. So they control us with money. We need, electricity, and people don't even know that, you can stick a seed in the ground and water will fall from the sky and food will grow. People don't even know that. This realm is truly amazing. So it's total control, because without it, when people wake up to this, like all the flat earthers, we've all said, no, we're no longer playing their game. We need to take down their control system. What is that control system? One, the lie of where you live. That's easy. We're doing it right now. You're waking up. You're seeing it. Your audience is listening. Two, they control us with money. We still need money to operate in this world. But what if everyone said, hey, guess what? You guys have been lying to us about everything. Space, world, everything. We're no longer using your banking system. We're going to private cryptocurrencies. Bam. They're done. They're finished. We won't even know who they are. Okay. Cryptocurrency, when done right, is real money. It's more real than when we had a gold-backed currency system, right? It's money that can't be messed with once it's set in place. And it exists right now, but most people don't know about it. And people are like, oh, no.
So can I ask you one thing about crypto then?
Yeah.
Because you said, okay, I've got a crystal, you buy it for $25, and then you're able to use that money. Why not remove the money, the mechanism for exchange, and just barter past that? Or do you really think that we need to have some form of currency?
Well, let me explain. So let's say you want to make a nice dinner tonight, but you don't have any groceries. So I say, hey, I'll give you, I want to buy that crystal, but I don't know, I can give you my beautiful flat earth map. You're like, well, that's nice, but then I'd have to sell the map, see if someone will trade it for me for groceries. And you're in England, I'm in the United States. How am I going to get it to you? How about this? Boom, 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 boom. Bam. I just sent you $25 worth of crypto. You can go to the store, flash your code at them, whatever. Bam. You just bought your dinner and a nice bottle of wine, whatever, or a crappy bottle of wine. Okay. Only $25. And it's instantaneous. Like if I have a friend in Australia and they're like, Dave, a relative, like I need some money, and I was like, well, I got some gold. Let me see how long it takes me to get it to you. It'll probably take a month before I can get it to you, if I can get it to you, right? Let me wire you some money from the bank. Oh crap. It's 5 p.m. on Friday. Now I got to wait until Monday. Then they're going to charge me $100 for the transfer. And then it's going to take 3 days. Then your bank's going to get it. Then they're going to reject it. Then it's like insanity. Or I can just from my phone go click, 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 click. Got it? Yep, got it. Thanks. All done. Okay. And no middleman, no nothing. And it's totally secure. People don't know what crypto is. They think Bitcoin is crypto. Bitcoin is crypto, but it's basically a government coin at this point. Bitcoin it may go way up again, but it's not what crypto really is. It's what they thought it was supposed to be, but there's privacy coins that nobody knows. Like if I bought you something from you for cash, who knows about it besides me and you? Nobody, right? But if I use Bitcoin, everyone knows about it. It's public information, okay? It can be tracked. But if I did it with a privacy coin, there's privacy coins, Monero and Pirate Chain. Those are like the top two. Nobody sees anything ever, and there's no way for them ever to see it. Where it went, who had it, where it went to, nothing. And and people in the crypto world, there's many people that are big in the crypto world that don't see flat earth yet. I'm trying to bring them together because flat earth awareness and knowledge on what cryptocurrency really is. People say, the government wants to go to a cashless thing. You're pushing for the government to go cashless. If the government goes cashless, we're screwed if everyone's still using their cashless crypto, right? But if we use our own privacy crypto and people realize, hey, the government lies about everything, I'm not going to listen to them anymore. We're done. That's how we take over. That's how we take back the world non-violently, right? We just do not consent. The only power the government has over you, like let's say they do whatever they're going to do again without saying too much, is if people comply. What if everyone said, no, I see through your nonsense and I'm not going to listen.
Not going to stay at home anymore.
It's over. It's over. It's over. The only control they have over you is in your imagination. The only thing that's ever gone to space is your imagination. Okay. And realize that we're here. I mean, how many kids die of starvation and diarrhea every single day, right? But we're trying to go to Mars to build a dome where we could all live maybe in that dome if it works and everybody doesn't die. Meanwhile, why don't we just build a dome in Ethiopia? Okay, because we can run rail lines there and bring all the supplies that we need, and you could be in this dome. Going to another planet is, besides ridiculous, planets don't exist. It is just the most insane fantasy ever. As I said, our optics have outgrown their lives. This is what Mars really looks like. It's not this nonsense that they show you with their beautiful little paintings. That's what Mars really looks like. Right? When you look at a star like the star Capella, this is what Capella really looks like. Right? This is what Arcturus looks like. If I get out of the way, it moves. Right? What is it? They're amazing, sentient luminaries, in my opinion. They kind of look like they're underwater, but this is what we see in the sky. And they've razzle-dazzled us with their paintings and nonsense, and stories about, they show us these pictures and there might be some like wreckage and stuff. It's all taken here on Earth. And then the conspiracy theorists are like, look, on Mars, those are buildings and that's a face and that's a pyramid. They want us fighting. They want us divided, right? I don't believe in Mars. I do believe in Mars. Look at those are buildings. No, they're not buildings. That means if you're arguing that, you mean you believe that Mars exists. Mars doesn't exist. There are no rocks floating in space, from asteroids all the way to planets. There are no gas balls. Okay. Everything that we see in the sky is here within the Earth system.
So how does this affect astrology?
Amazing, right? Because, billionaires have astrologists. So I used to say, people are like, oh, don't do anything. Mars is in retrograde. I'm like, wait a minute. Mars is 40 million miles away. It can't even affect the tides. How does Mars's movement in retrograde affect my life in any way, shape, or form? Astrology is for idiots. That was my original thought. But then when you realize, wait a minute, that light in the sky that we call Mars is right here within the Earth system. It's electrical and magnetic in nature. It is literally the it's right here. I believe it's sentient. Okay. And it's close and it does affect us. All of this stuff does affect us, right? Think about and when we have all these planetary alignments, how come the gravity from all of them lining up doesn't nudge something out of place? Everything resets perfectly. So when you're looking at where the sun is and the stars are right all here within the Earth system. So their positions and everything do affect us. It's like, I call it the projector of our reality. So, you in astrology, you talk about all of the movements. Well, you can kind of map them on both a heliocentric and a flat Earth, and you can still be an effective astrologer. But the astrologers that have adopted, like Santos Bonacci and others that have realized the Earth is flat, they become super powerful astrologers, right? How come in astrology they're tracking all the movements of all the planets, but not the movement of Earth? Okay, not the movement of Earth. Well, the Earth, according to the helio sinister trick model, is traveling 4.5 in just one of the directions, 4.5 billion miles a year. And somehow all of the other planets in complete synchronization are chasing the sun and keeping up with us, right? But we're only monitoring their movement and not ours. The reason astrology doesn't pay attention to the Earth's movement is because
there is no movement.
There is no movement. Go outside, meditate, look at a lake. Ask yourself, are you moving? People go, well, if you're on an airplane, I could drink a glass of water and walk to the bathroom. And I say, well, double the speed of the airplane, take off the outside of the airplane shell, because on a ball where there's no shell over us, and let me know how that water does. All right. Mind-blowing stuff, right?
Well, it is, yeah. And it's interesting to just hear how it affects everything that we've held on to for so long. And like you say, it's a time of awakening now. So what we're looking at is, for those who are willing, want to look at everything. And like you say, with everything that you look at, it shakes everything. You have to go through that period of mourning as such. There's a period of you're going to lose some people. You're going to lose some people that are not prepared to come with you for one reason or another.
Yep.
There's going to be anger. There's going to be shame. I mean, you have to kind of go through a major ego check as well, realizing that you've lived your life as a lie, or on the top of a lie. But we were all deceived. So how do we, as we all start to find out what the truths are in this world, and whichever way we start to build ourselves a new way of being, has it worked with you in terms of like reconfiguring your world and making new connections and changing your outlook and what you're able to bring forth to people as to, this is going to be a better way for us if we know the truth of this? Well, don't be so scared.
Yeah, I'm bringing people from a world of fantasy and fear and low vibration to a world of amazing highness, high vibration and reality, and bringing them closer to having their own personal relationship, which was none of my business, with the creator. Okay. And that raises everyone's consciousness and raises everyone's spirit and adds energy to this world. And then the dark forces that we call the elite that are sucking our energy can no longer suck your energy if you don't offer it to them. Most people come home, they turn on the news, and they're just feeding their energy into that satanic system. So knowing what this world is will help us reclaim it. And my work with educating people on what cryptocurrency is and what cryptocurrency really is and what this world really is, it's just lifting everybody out of their fear-based matrix. So literally unplugging them from the matrix. So anybody that hears this, that has a show or that wants more information, reach out to me, info@theflatearthpodcast.com. Okay. And let's have this discussion, because the sooner that we do this, and we better do it soon. They're trying to, they're talking about the new, what is it? The Great Reset. That's what Klaus Schwab, look into that guy, Klaus Schwab, the Great Reset. Okay. We have a Great Reset. It's happened a whole bunch of times without saying too much, so we don't get censored. In 1720, there was the plague. 1820, there was cholera. 1920, everybody was wearing, shame face diaper muzzles, and everyone was getting the boom boom in the arm, and everybody died. And then in 2020, we have the other nonsense that's going on. So it seems like every 100 years, they try to do some kind of thinning of the herd, if you will. And here we are. Maybe this is the time that people will wake up. Maybe, this is the time. The Mayans said 2012 was the end of the cycle. Well, now we moved into a new age. Everyone's waking up. Let's go. Time to put on your big boy pants, use your adult brains, and look at this world. Drop your ego, look at reality, admit that you've been lied to your whole life, and start over today. And the best way to do it, and I'm not here to pitch my app, but I'm here to pitch my app, because my app is the way to do it. Just go to the App Store and read. Don't buy the app. Just go read the reviews. The Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's on Google Play. It's on Android on Google Play, and it's also on iTunes, iOS. You need an iPhone 6 or better, an iPad. Just make sure you get the one by Blue Water Bay with the highest rating, because there's a knockoff already by the Flat Earth Society people. And it's horrible. And just don't send me an email if you get that one saying your app sucks, because it's not my app. So there you go.
Perfect. Well, before you go, have you got anything else that you want to leave us with, Dave, for these times? I mean, you've given us some information there, but if you were to leave like a elevator pitch or just a few words of wisdom that people can take with them, because I appreciate this is going to be probably way far out for a lot of the people who've listened to my podcast. Yeah. But what I want to start doing is, because we're going through the awakening, we need to explore these conspiracies, at least allow people who have investigated them deeply to bring their information to us, so then we can take a step further and then go and do our own work and see if it sits with us and see if it feels like truth.
The problem is people like, well, let me Google Flat Earth. You Google Flat Earth, you might as well, you're basically signing up for, I'm never going to understand Flat Earth, because they're going to feed you nonsense. They have these snarky shills like Not Professor Dave and Byman Dan and these other guys out there just putting out video after video after video, all straw man arguments, all gaslighting, all nonsense. Look at the real information. The app will get you there. Just go to my website. If you don't want to get the app, go to my website. There's plenty of links there. Just start researching and start looking at this stuff. So, you have to ask yourself, when did you learn about space? And did they show you anything but cartoons? And the answer is, before you can talk, and no, they haven't shown you anything but cartoons. So why is that? Then you start looking at, start doing the math. They didn't teach you to do the proper math. I mean, the distance of our sun and the distance of the stars is impossible. Impossible. The closest star, skipping our sun, okay? And I don't even believe in stars. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away, okay? So let's say you were in a rocket ship and you're heading to that star at a mile a second, pretty fast, right? A mile per second, 1 second miles. How far, dyslexic on this. How long would it take you to go 1 trillion miles? A mile a second. So a trillion miles would take a trillion seconds, right? You with me?
Yeah.
How long is a trillion seconds?
What is that in time?
Yeah, what is it?
Days or weeks? Yeah.
It's 31,000 years. So if you were traveling at 1 mile per second, 31,000 years later, you'll be 1/25th your way to the closest star. Can your mind calculate that? No, it can't. Okay. We can prove that you can't see the angular size of things gets too small. Like if I held, a coin right up to the camera and then I moved it away, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And there'll be a point where you can't see it anymore because its angular size gets too small. We can prove that our North Star at just, if light time was a time, 6 light days away would be way too small to see. 6 light days away. That's the distance light travels in 6 days if you believe in light speed. They tell us it's 433 light years away. Okay. Nonsense. It's just nonsense. And well, you're not seeing the star, you're seeing the light that was been traveling for billions of years. Nonsense. It's when people tell me the stories, I just look at them and I go, cool story, bro. Cool story. So
I like how you do.
So again, put on your big boy pants, put on your adult brains. Don't let them mind control you. Turn off the news. Go out in nature. Go to the Flat Earth Conference in South Carolina if you're here in the United States in October. flatearthfestivals.com. And get the app. That's how you're going to learn. And that's the app. I'm putting a new feature on the app where you can turn it off. I'm invisible, show my exact location, or show city center. Just, I don't want people knowing exactly where I am. And this way you can find other flat earthers near you and you can message them. It's like, hey, I'm at the little pub. I'm hanging out with Carol, and we're, come on, say hello. I see you're in the area. Bam, flat earthers getting together like that. They don't want us together. We're using their technology to get us together.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dave, for speaking to me today, because it's just given more for me to investigate. And also, I hope it's given those who have just allowed themselves to listen to your presentation and the questions that I've given, just take it on board and see. Don't, it's an hour out of your life to listen to something that could quite possibly be true, instead of, a box set of 8 hours of fiction, why
amazing?
Not try it?
I used to love movies. Now, movies are life is so much more interesting. And I haven't been one moment of boredness. Even if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can't sleep. I'm like, I got 5 hours. I got 5 hours until I need to talk to anybody. So it's Flat Earth fills your life with wonder and amazement and truth. And once you start seeing, it's amazing. Once you see Flat Earth, you start seeing everything else. Then you realize, hey, they don't really have power over me. That's just me giving it up willingly. And life just gets better and better and better. I mean, I had the American dream. I started my own company. I was making tons of money. And then something said to me, just walk away. Do this, David. This is more important. And I'm like, all right. I finally, a whole life I struggled for money, and now I got it and I'm walking away from it all. And I've never been happier. This is phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.